Thank you very much, and just want to first thank those state representatives and civil society representatives who are in attendance today. Your presence on this issue, your engagement on this issue, and your voice on this issue matters deeply. It can have a very concrete effect upon individuals, many individuals. It can have a concrete effect upon the outcome of the current crossroads in which Egypt finds itself. And that's why I'm here to talk, because I hope to demonstrate why the voice of states at the Human Rights Council is important. In 2021, as many of you might know, there was a joint statement by governments at the Human Rights Council on Egypt. Shortly after that joint statement, Egypt decided to make several, in many ways, positive steps on human rights by releasing several political prisoners, by beginning the process of a national human rights plan, by announcing a national dialogue. These were positive steps in many ways, and they were in part due to the fact that states here were willing to demonstrate commitment to human rights in Egypt in a public and joint manner. We have had no follow-up to that, and the inability for states to ensure appropriate follow-up to that statement has resulted, I think, in what we hear today, a process defined by symbolism and not by progress, a process defined by a strategy of propaganda as opposed to lasting policy changes in Egypt. Since 2022, or between 2022 and 2023, there was a release of 1,600 political prisoners. That's important. That's really important, especially to those families. The people that you heard from today, those types of whole families are broken up or destroyed because of these types of arrests. In that same period, 5,000 people were arrested for charges related to peaceful expression, association. So what we can say is that action here at the Council matters. Your voice matters. It can assist individuals, and it can assist with progress in the country on the human rights front. Your unwillingness to speak up also matters. It matters deeply. It is the green light for Egypt to assume that symbolism is all that is required and to continue to propagate human rights violations and, as we've heard today, actually increase those violations in many different areas and the situation for the situation to become worse. I would argue finally that this will be my final argument because I'm much more interested in hearing from those from Egypt today. But my final argument would be that in many conversations here about this file, what is repeated often to human rights defenders from Egypt, to myself and others, is that Egypt is a problematic case here at the Council because they threaten to undermine thematic initiatives, international human rights standards, and the work of diplomats and others at this Council. And that it becomes difficult to take action at times on Egypt because of those threats or those efforts. I would argue that that approach over the last 3 years has not only undermined the ability of the Council to protect individuals in Egypt from human rights violations, but it has actually backfired on that as well, on the other concern, that of not ensuring the universality of human rights and of thematic strength within the Council. In fact, I would argue that Egypt has become more aggressive in undermining initiatives and undermining international human rights standards over the last several years, not less. So the trade-off and of silence on Egypt, for me, is hard to calculate the cost-benefit analyses for those who want to protect the international human rights system and for those who want some form of democratic stability going forward in Egypt. I will not be able to touch upon how these policies have deeply affected the stability of the economic and political spheres in Egypt, though I'm happy to provide a large amount of studies by extremely credible scholars, both Egyptian and international, that demonstrate just that. I thank you once again for being here, and I hope that we can begin to discuss how to appropriately respond to the human rights crisis in Egypt at the Human Rights Council. Thank you.